Welcome to Kicking Kickstarter with me, James Jeccles. I am here with Byson to talk about his Kickstarter project, Triology project, which is an album, a book and a film. So tell us a bit about your background and yourself.
Alright, so my name is Andy. Artist name is Byson. I was born in Louisiana and I lived in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan for 14 years. And I most recently moved from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I live in Seattle now.
And how did you get into music, and what were your influences musically?
So funny story, I'm actually tone deaf, and I started getting into music when I was really young. My mom always wanted me to play the piano because I was really artistic in many other ways, and she thought that I had an ear for music, and so she bought me a piano after playing with my grandma's organ one day, and I just started playing her like early jazz pieces, and those are kind of like my biggest influences, like Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong, and then I kind of transferred from that and into my inspiration from New Age, which kind of like, like bands like Enigma, artists kind of like Yanni, even David Brickman, like instrumental artists mostly.
And with your music, what do you draw from personally and in your life to bring into your music?
That's actually a really good question. I generally like to incorporate everyday themes in my music, but in like really emotional ways. So first and foremost, I'm a musician, and secondly, I'm a singer. So a lot of times, lyrically, I tend to be extremely poetic. Sometimes I try not to rhyme, just because it's overly cliche to rhyme in music. Like if you can get away with it, you can do it. Like good for you. But if you can make music without having to rhyme, that's like you've struck gold. So a lot of times I tend to take a lot of things that everybody's going through and just kind of dig into like the most raw and emotional parts of whatever that experience is, and I write about it in kind of like a really touchy first to third person base. So a lot of the lyrics kind of feel like you're experiencing it from a third person point of view, but it has the emotion and that raw feeling of first person.
And what have you been doing in the last few years with your career and music, and have you been progressing?
So I used to be in a band when I was in high school, so I've got performance under my belt. I used to do a lot of performance, a lot of recording. I prefer recording over performing just because I have a lot of extra room for doing extremely eccentric things without having to explain myself. And I feel like during performances, it's all or nothing. But I do like the energy of like performing to a crowd. And the one main thing that I really want to get into after I finish this album and get it out there is starting to do shows and starting to do an interesting set that I don't think people are used to. That's playing a lot of the material from the CD as if it were a dance track, like a giant DJ set, but then playing over it with live instruments and singing as if you were watching an indie band. And it's a concept in live performance that people are slowly progressing towards and that I haven't really seen much of, but at the same time it's something that's so relevant today that would make it easier as a solo performer to have maybe one guitar hand or a drummer and then be able to put on a decent normal live show.
How do you hope to put it all together within your album, or all these different styles of influences from what you draw on in life and these different musical influences to DJing? How does it all kind of mesh together for you?
Really just experience and going out to see live shows. I mean, one of the main concepts of today's music is it's all over the place. DJs becoming like the face of music in today's kind of like clubby atmosphere and world have been taking over like slowly since the 90s, like in little steps. And then at one point, there's like this blurred line between going to a live performance and going to a DJ set. And so a lot of what I hear musically on the radio, not on the radio, I still very much listen to like early jazz on Pandora, and then I also listen to things like soundscapes, like movie scores even, and I kind of draw from each one of them. There's never really like a specific source for every little style of music, but what I try to do when I'm writing a song is I'll start with like one or two instruments, and then I'll start writing lyrics, and then kind of like record the vocals over it, and then I think about how different I can make the track by adding like a specific instrument or a specific like rhythm line, and those all kind of come together. And then I think about it in terms of live performance as well, because when people go to a live show, not always are they looking for listening to the same song that they heard on the track or on the CD. A lot of people go to live performances to see how that artist does it live. So there are a couple different elements that I'm going to incorporate with the live performance to match up with the recorded songs. But I don't want them to sound exactly like they do on the CD, because you can just go home and play that on if you want. And so I'm trying to make sure that A, the CD flows as if you were listening to a DJ set, and B, those tracks will sound the same, but extremely different when you listen to them live. But you're still going to recognize them, you know?
You want to be able to experiment with your music and explore the different areas.
Yeah, and a lot of times the songs start really raw. Like the song Commodore, which is going to be like my main plug into generating interest, or I guess you could call it a single, started on the piano. Like it wasn't even like a dance track or an indie rock track. It was just a piano track that I was fiddling around with lyrics, and it ended up turning into this huge amalgamation of genres and sounds. So, I mean, sometimes, like if I don't feel like certain performances are going to be incorporated differently. Like if I'm doing a cafe set, I'm obviously just going to be doing acoustic guitar or piano. And all those songs are going to sound completely different, because on the album there's some form of like electronica or club in those tracks, and I can't do that necessarily in a cafe. So each set is going to be completely different depending on where I get my gigs.
And how did this project come about? How did you think of it and go about doing it?
I've been in the planning stages for this album for a long time. Before I left Vegas, I went by a completely different artist name, and I kept thinking, as my computer's dying over there as you hear it, I kept thinking about doing something like this, because there are a lot of artists that I look up to that I see doing similar things, but they've never really touched base with what I'm doing with this project. And that's, some artists will put out like an art book, or like when you go to see them on like a huge tour, they'll have like a tour book where it has like tons of artwork and like live performance photos and stuff like that. Or they'll do like DVDs for live performances. Or recently, one of my favorite bands did something that I've been wanting to do with my music for years and years and years, and that's take their songs and make it one giant music video, which is what the film is for the project. Is basically all the songs connect like it's one giant song telling one big story, and in the film you're getting a different perspective of what those songs mean in terms of the lyrics and the music and the feeling behind those songs. It's a complete film. And then also, I like CD slipcases for like album releases. They're more like environmentally friendly. The colors are better. The paper that they're generally printed on is like really clean and really nice, but they don't have like the ability of having like lyric sheets. So I've been thinking about putting out like an art book with lyrics, and thinking about all three of these things over the past couple of years, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put them all together and release a project that has all these things that incorporate, you know, all my favorite elements of art. Like, I think of everyday life as an art movement. So why not make that my project? Is everything you can think of in music or in the realm of art, giving that to people and having them, you know, something that they can appreciate from the artist and fully get inside the artist's head.
And how did you go about setting it up as a Kickstarter project?
That happened by a beautiful coincidence because I had not heard of Kickstarter before launching this project, and I think I ran into it, or I was looking for, because I heard of Pledge Music, which is a similar format, except with Pledge, you basically have to be a known artist, and let's face it, I'm extremely indie. I'm as indie as you can possibly get. Like, there are not very many people out there that even know who I am. So when I tried to launch something with Pledge about 3 years ago, they basically told me, get this many more people and we'll set up your project and you can launch it that way. But other than that, we don't see it being successful. That's basically what they told me. And so I was recently looking up something similar, like a similar format, but wouldn't need so much of a fan dedication. And I ran into Kickstarter and was like, all right, well, if I can pass the gates and get my project on the runway, I'm just going to do it. And literally after 2 weeks of setting up the page and taking photos and video and completely coming up with prices and things and certain rewards, that's how it was launched. So it was really like a last minute thought on something that I've been trying to do for like 4 years now.
You only asked for $250, but you managed to reach just over twice that amount. What's it like, and still having 9 days to go on it, what's it like seeing that you can go ahead with the project now and get it off the ground?
It's a really mixed feeling. Like, I wasn't really surprised about hitting like the 250 mark because I thought about like my base audience and I thought about like the people that already listen to my music, and there have been people in the past that have liked my work to the point where they bought special edition things and even have said, hey, if you come up with this thing, because this is what I want, I will pay you, whatever you want for it. So I wasn't surprised because there are some people out there that appreciate unknown artists just as much as I do, because I'm weird. I will totally go on Google, type in like a certain genre, and try to find artists that don't really have a following, because for some reason that kind of music is more enjoyable to me. And I guess there's other people out there like that. So I wasn't really surprised that I reached 250. Doubling it is kind of like a great surprise, but when I originally came up with the goal, I was like, this is how much I need to basically come up with something that's different, and then also be able to pay off like fees for getting like everything completely produced and getting it out there, basically. Like, I just basically needed the money to put it on like media, like social media, music stores like iTunes and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. And I've always wanted to do like a vinyl pressing. And so the 250 was like the initial of how I could get it all done without having to sit there and freak out about a budget like I've done in the past. And when I reached it and then beyond, I'm basically to the point now where I'm giving out like free stickers and free like prints and graphics and things like that to like the first like chunk of people that like back the project. And then I'm also doing like a t-shirt rally or raffle at the end of the I think on like September 12th, I'm just gonna put all the backers' names in like a drawing and pull them out, and whoever wins gets a t-shirt. So.
And what rewards did you offer during the project to the backers?
Really interesting stuff. I tried to keep it as like weird as I possibly could, but still have like a good eclectic mix. Like the $25 reward is like a disposable camera, which I actually have on me, but if I were to grab it out, I'd ruin my little tripod. So, and basically what that is it's just a disposable camera with 27 photos, and it's just random stuff. Like, we started filming, and everything that I see that I'm like taking professional photos of for the art book, I'm having somebody take photos of me taking photos of that. So you have like photos of me taking pictures of the artwork or filming something or putting together a song on the computer or recording vocals. And then you also have like really weird stuff, like random stuff, like, oh, I took a picture of my cat. Like, just whatever I can see is like getting an insight into my brain in these 27 photos that nobody else will see but that person. So that's my favorite one was, I was thinking, how can I give this to somebody in a way for them to share with the public and would be really personable, and that was it.
And once you receive the money from Kickstarter, what's your next stage with the project and how you're going to get the ball rolling with it?
So I price quoted everything, and I'm trying to finish up the draft of the book, which is basically just like completely PDF it, because right now I've got almost all the photos set up on the book. Right now it's looking to be about 45 pages. It might be 60. It depends on where I'm going with the short stories, because there's going to be a few short stories in it. But once that's completely done, and the filming is done and the editing is done, what I'm going to do is just kind of clump everything together, start ordering all the material for it, and kind of go from there and like shipping people stuff out. Like I've got like a crazy checklist in my head. I've got the money routed to a bank where it would be completely separate from like my normal income and then my like savings and all that kind of stuff. So once I get it, I'm just going to sit there, crank numbers for a couple days just to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly, because I don't want to I want to basically be able to cut enough corners to where I'm not going to be scraping by or having to put my own money into it, but to the point where I'll have a little bit extra to do extra stuff for the people that, you know, took their time and their money to make my dream come true. So that's my main step, is when the money actually gets put there, I'm not going to touch it until I'm ready to touch it, but I'm going to get things as they come. Because the music now, I have 2 more songs to completely edit and re-record vocals to, and then after that I'm just going to do this weekend actually, which is like, I think I have like Thursday and Friday off normally, so those 2 days I'm just going to sit there and hash out and completely master it. And I have to master it for vinyl, so it's going to take even longer as well. And then once that's done, since I have the definite track list, I'm going to, you know, get the lyric pages all ready for the book. And so those are my first 2 steps. The one that's going to take the longest is the DVD. And I'm actually going to give people the option of me shipping all their stuff but the DVD first, if that's in my budget. If it's not, I'm just going to have to tell people that they're going to wait. But I'm expecting everybody to get their stuff by the beginning or the middle of October.
And once this project is finished, what do you hope to go on to do?
Once it's done, I've got kind of like a little waiting period between, you know, like the project actually being shipped out and then the actual album release, because everybody's getting the album before it's like officially put out to the public. I've got like a couple weeks where I'm just gonna kind of take a break, relax, maybe do like a mini like staycation and just kind of go hiking or camping or something and just kind of make myself in tune with nature again. But then I'm going into practice sessions and really coming up with ways to where I can make a live show sound in my grasp, because right now I've been practicing some of the songs like in between like free time. Like I'll bring my guitar to work, and when I get a break I'll just kind of like fiddle with it. I'm finding that it's more of a challenge for me to come up with a format that works for a live performance, and so what I'm going to do is just really work on it, because these songs are the most interesting, different songs that I've ever worked with, so it's going to take quite a bit of time to kind of get them perfect to where I can start booking shows and just run with it from there.
And where can people go to find out more about you?
I got a couple different links. My website, which is bysonmusic.com, will be opening sometime next week. I was trying to get it launched before the project ends, just so I can have like a place where people can follow for like the ending process or the post-production, where I can post photos and things like that. Like I'm still going to do it on Kickstarter, but I really wanted like a place, and it's going to be hosted through Tumblr, so a lot of people that back the project and a lot of people that are actually interested in it can follow the page, and therefore will like subscribe to all my little like postings and stuff. It kind of makes it a little bit more personal, and all of the posts are going to have like a blog where people can ask questions and get feedback with me. But that's going to be my most important one. That or facebook.com/BysonMusic, which is my Facebook, which Facebook's extremely relevant, so people are probably going to use that more than the actual website. But those the only two I can think of. I mean, my Bandcamp's kind of just a place where I post like little raw samples of things and demos and stuff, so it's not really like a good place to go. So those two mainly.
Thanks very much, Byson, for talking to us about your Kickstarter music project, Triology project.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, James.
Watching this video by me, Jeccles69. Remember to subscribe and comment to my YouTube channel for some more great interviews and reviews, along with some more additional content. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Jeccles69 and like me on Facebook at facebook.com/Jeccles69. Thanks for watching. Remember to enjoy, share, like and subscribe and comment. Until next time, take care and bye.